Welcome to Long Beach Local News. This is Melissa McGinnis. We're in the studio today with one of my favorite all-time people watchdog, Laura Doud. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So we're going to talk about a really exciting audit that you just performed. It's the Parks Maintenance Audit, and I thought the results were pretty interesting. Tell us about them.
Thank you. Well, you know, our parks are so important to the people here in Long Beach and the neighborhoods. We have beautiful parks in our beautiful city, and we felt it's really important that they be a priority and that we take care of them. We received a few hotline calls regarding some issues at the park. So we took a little deeper look into it and found some very interesting things. So. You know, as a whole, we found that the city is doing a really good job expanding and growing our parks and the number of our parks, as well as medians and other park-related things and trees. But what was happening was they were not investing in the maintenance of the parks. So they were expanding them without including a budget for maintenance, right. And that included a problem. So over time, this contractor responsible for landscape was really spread pretty thin by just having the same amount of money being allocated to them to handle a number of parks. As a result, we found that approximately 1 in 4 park trees was dead or in poor condition or dying. We found excessive trash and weeds and marijuana paraphernalia, and there was an antiquated irrigation system. And in combination with the drought, it really was like a perfect storm for sort of a bad situation. So our audit really recommended that, you know, our parks were going to continue to decline if we didn't do something immediately.
I love that this was coming in from some of the hotline tips, because if not, it would still kind of maybe still be an oversight. I also love that you found equipment that was purchased but not being used, and the contractor was being paid for stuff that wasn't being performed. Is that correct?
Yes. And, you know, in all fairness to the contractor, the city really had not increased the budget to include maintenance for the expansion of all these parks and trees. So as a result, you know, our parks were on a state of decline. And so we made some really, I think, really good recommendations that at this point, you know, we did receive from Parks and Recs that funding is a problem, and we understand it. And I think at this point, we can't afford just to use traditional approaches for funding. We have to think beyond traditional approaches, think beyond outside the box and say, what other funding alternatives are there to help our parks? We looked at other cities and counties and what is working for them. For the county of San Diego, they have selling naming rights, and so sponsorships, private public sponsorships where they could, you know, purchase.
You could adopt a park?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so we felt like this was a good recommendation, that the city really needed to open themselves up for innovative ways to bring in more money through grants and partnerships and these kinds of things. So we're hoping that they take our recommendations to heart and look at these, explore alternative funding sources so that we can maintain our parks in a state that is acceptable to the public.
I read in your audit that you actually had to come back with a rebuttal. They weren't really open to your recommendations right away, were they?
Right, and that took us off guard. You caught us kind of off guard. I think they felt like, you know, they had, one of our recommendations was, you know, to have a strategic plan. Well, they said, well, we already have a strategic plan. But our point was, this strategic plan needs to be very comprehensive, and it needs to include maintenance.
Yeah.
And so the maintenance piece was missing. And if that is missing, our parks will continue to be in a state of decline, and trees will continue to die. I mean, this maintenance piece was really key in why our parks are the way they are. And we need to have a different approach in the way we're doing things.
So where are they at today with this? Because I think it's really smart to think outside the box and look at for other additional revenue streams, not just rely on the budget. Where are they at today with this? Because I know that there's parks in place they're continuing to grow and create other parks, correct?
Yes, and right now the city is right in the middle of its budget season, and so I'm grateful that our office was able to bring this important issue and item, this critical item, to the forefront. And so we brought it to the council and the mayor's attention, as well as city management and the parks. And we're optimistic that they're going to take and embrace our recommendations and be a champion for change and implement these recommendations and find a way to allocate the money that is necessary to keep up with the expansion of our parks.
Well, I hope you come back and tell us what happens in the end with that conversation. I think it's really smart. And I also want to thank you for fighting for the healthy lifestyle, seeing parks, being in parks. I know that you feel that's so important to a community to really thrive and feel healthy. So thank you for fighting that. And thank you to our viewers who called in to the hotline. What is your hotline?
Our hotline number is 1-888-FRAUD-07. And if you would please call, we get our best tips from our fraud hotline. So we appreciate any tips that anybody has. We will follow through.
Well, we appreciate you, Laura Doud, and to all the viewers out there, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.